So, my beloved kin, come closer. The Wheel of Fortune is affirming this turning point that you're in. It's revealing that you are walking the path of your destiny. You have walked through a clearing of karma, a karmic completion. This has been a lot. My last two readings are very much talking about this. And now we're going into what the ancestors, the guides, your guardians, source want you to know about the ancient gifts of your destiny. And so let's dive deeper. Cycle has turned. We have entered the golden age. And what I kept receiving before this reading is the activation of the 144,000 souls. This doesn't exclude anyone out of that. It just means that there's these nodal points of energy that Creator was showing me of 144,000 grid points across all of Gaia, and that there are specific souls that came in to anchor that energy, that frequency. And so what is coming through is this destiny of activating that higher frequency that we are now able to anchor together in a higher frequency than has ever been in thousands of years on Gaia together, right? With a lot of people, a lot of souls activating the grid lines again, going and doing prayer and ceremony on these sacred sites, reopening these portals that were closed after the fall of Atlantis. And I mentioned this briefly in my last reading, but a little more information about that, because they want me to, with the Page of Swords, communicate this message of the ancient future gifts. So let's open that up a bit. Lemuria, which was before Atlantis, was an age and of high frequency living. We were deeply, intimately connected with the water, with the beings of the water, the dolphins, the whales. There was so much harmony and abundance, and we all were very telepathic. And then what traveled on from that, right, was Atlantis, and what eventually evolved from that time. And there was still a pocket of Lemuria still existing as Atlantis was blooming. However, Atlantis was the era of technology, and so there were those that came into power during the Atlantis times of the technology that did not use it for good intention. And so their power, ultimately what happened was their fear of separation was what created the fear and the separation within the Atlantis community. And so Gaia was feeling all of this misuse and fear and ultimately control, because the reason why those in power, specifically the Anunnaki, were in, not all of them were bad. Some of them were doing great things, but those that were using their power for enslaving people or using technology for their own benefit of control, underneath that sense of control was fear of separation, fear of us not being a one consciousness community. And that fear ended up rippling into what was, we have a little bug creature coming up onto the tarot deck. And so the royal families of the sacred power, the sacred site, the sacred vision, which most people had, there were also the royal families, the royal bloodlines that were given the gifts from the star elders that lived on a pocket of like a sacred temple. It was a sacred temple space where they held the wisdom of the star elders. And so there were Pleiadian, Arcturian, and Syrian influences. And so what happened was there was a bit of a war between the Anunnaki and the royal bloodlines. And so we see here with the Ten of Pentacles, there's these royal families and that physical. And what happened was it just got way too physical with the power of technology. And so this eventually led to the fall of Atlantis, and Gaia, with her fierce energy started closing down these power points of energy. That was what fueled the sacred magic and connection between all of us on the grid lines, and between the power that was being channeled in these sacred sites that fueled our civilizations and was a part of our telepathy as well, was closed down. And this was to protect us from those who were using it with misintention. And I think the message here is that to remember that the root of the fall of Atlantis was, yes, there was misuse of power, but ultimately it was coming from a fear of separation, which then led to that rippling into the fall and the separation of humanity. And so this is such a story of when we are imbalanced with how we are using our power, our magic, and it's coming from a sense of fear, how that can amplify through what we're giving our energy to. And that is universal law, right? The universal law, if something is being misused and isn't for, but ultimately the universal law is of light and dark. And we all, in the contrast of the dark ones and the light ones in that time, were medicine. And ultimately that was the Aeon that led to the Aeon of Osiris. And so the universal law here in the Justice card was that previous to that, that was the Aeon of Isa, which was the Aeon of the feminine, the woman. And so that was very prevalent, was the feminine energy, especially in Lemuria. And it was very matriarchal. And then the fall of humanity, right, into the Kali Yuga. So it's all in divine harmony with the cycles of the universe, was the Aeon of Osiris, which we just came out of, which was the masculine, the patriarchy. And so we've learned a lot in these different aeons. However, we've been through many years in cycles, humanity and Earth, of the suffering of the Kali Yuga, and the suffering of, and the beauty and all of it that we've learned from the Osiris masculine patriarchal energy. But right now we are all entering into the Four of Wands as a collective, which is the Aeon of Horus, the Golden Age, the Aquarian Age, which we are in an Aquarian age right now astrologically. And this is bringing us a sense of belonging, a sense of home, a sense of marriage within our consciousness, the union of the divine, feminine, and masculine, the Aeon of Horus. So the Isa, the feminine, the Osiris, the masculine, coming into unity, the Trinity, the Horus, the child. And here we are. We are at this precipice of an entire new age, unlike we've ever seen before. And so these are the ancient future gifts that are coming online and activating. And so there's each individual of this grid anchoring this frequency has their own unique gift. And so this is just a general reading. If anyone is interested, you could book a session with me. And then also there's Activate Your Intuition in 7 days. This is a digital guide with audio meditation that's really affordable, and it was collaborated with embodied action. It's not fluffy language. It's true embodiment of anchoring and cleansing your third eye and cleansing your vessel to allow yourself to embody your gifts and your intuition in a way that allows you to feel safe and grounded in your gifts and in your sight. That is also down below. We have with the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Swords is showing us that we are in a fierce embodiment of our truth as individuals, right? The Aquarian energy of this age right now that we're in is about being uniquely individual as we are a collective. And so it's about honoring diversity. It's about honoring this the fairness and the truth of what technology can be in a harmonious way. And it's amplifying the individual purpose for the collective. The song is a little... And so here we have the moon revealing more of the secrets of the hidden realms with the Seven of Cups of your purpose. And so many of you may be searching for your purpose or wanting to know what your purpose is, or in the process of remembering your purpose. And each individual has their own unique codes to anchor this energy on earth that you already have and already are being and have been anchoring. It's not happening now, but there is a deeper activation happening of these ancient dormant codes, these sacred codes that are highly, highly attuned to a very, very miraculous energy that Earth and Gaia is ready to receive. And so this is a collective event that we're all taking part in. And so I can't speak to each person's purpose, but what our collective purpose is being a being and remembering that being on Earth and just being here is a sacred, sacred, sacred purpose for you. So it's important to remember that if you're feeling confused with the moon card reveals, there might be some confusion on what your purpose is. Take some time to align with your inner energy, connect with source, connect in with your heart, meditate, dance, do whatever lights you up, because there is here with the death card a powerful rebirth energy that you're going through. And so this big change and transition that you are from an old karmic cycle into this entirely miraculous golden timeline, your highest timeline, right? You have leveled up because of all the work that you've done. And yes, it has been work. You aren't just being here, but right now, by being, that's going to be a medicine for everyone around you right now. Just get more into remembering that your frequency is just as powerful right now, rather than being so much up in your head. And so the last card for the evening is the one and only High Priestess. And so this is really, really pertinent to how your intuition, your sacred wisdom that you carry from ancient times into this new future, this future timeline of the new earth, whatever you happen to call it or imagine it or know it to be, is especially potent right now, activating. It's activating within you, and allow yourself to bloom in this energy by just being, and then a download, an energy, an insight, an aha moment, an intuition, an impulse, an instinct will activate in you, whether it's through a dream. I'm receiving that you're going to have a powerful dream that's going to give you more information about this ancient future gift that is activating for you. However, if your dreams have been like, whoa, where you don't remember them, source, guides, God, Goddess is going to come in and help clear that for you so you can remember a higher vibrational energy of your gifts and your purpose.